Hello. In today's workshop, we will be covering interview skills. This workshop will cover the 3 stages of an interview: what to do before the interview, what to do during the interview, and what to do and not to do after an interview. So what is an interview? An interview is a conversation that happens between a job applicant and a representative of the employer. This may be HR, the hiring manager, etc. Depending on the role in the company, there can be more than one round of interviews. For example, your first round may be between you and HR or a manager. A second round of interviews can be with a panel, for example. The purpose of the interview is for the employer to assess if you are a good fit for the company, and it gives the candidate an opportunity to expand on their relevant skills and experiences. There are several reasons that someone might not do well in an interview. These are a few reasons. 1. A lack of preparation. 2. Not being personable enough. Although interviews are a professional conversation, you need to be personable. Try not to be robotic. 3. Improper body language. Make sure you're facing the interviewer. Do not slouch in your chair. Do not cross your arms. Number 4. They don't show that they're passionate about the role they're interviewing for. Number 5. Answers lack structure or relevancy. Make sure your answers are well thought out and they apply to the position you're interviewing for. Number 6. They ramble when answering questions. Make sure you are concise and only give necessary details. Number 7. They don't answer difficult questions the right way. For example, behavioral questions should be answered using the STAR method. This will be covered in more detail later on in the presentation. Make sure you research common interview questions beforehand. Research and practice common interview questions beforehand. Write down your answers to common questions like, tell me about yourself, why do you want to work here, why should we hire you, what are your strengths and weaknesses. For behavioral or situational-based questions, use the STAR method to answer these questions. Interviewers ask these types of questions because the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. For example, they may ask, tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a coworker and how you resolved it. The best way to prepare is to practice your answers. Write them down, record yourself answering questions, practice in front of a mirror, and practice with other people. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will feel answering the questions. Do your research. Take time to learn about the company. Research their mission, vision, initiatives, etc. You can find some of this information on their company website, LinkedIn page, Glassdoor, etc. You will most likely be asked, why do you want to work for this company? So relate your answer back to things like the company's mission statement, awards, or specific services and products they may offer. Thoroughly read the job description in order to link your skills and experience with the core competencies and experience they are looking for in a candidate. The STAR method is used to answer situational or behavioral-based questions. These questions often start with, tell me about a time. Interviewers ask these questions to gauge how you would behave if similar situations arose. When answering these types of questions, make sure to cover all the points of the STAR method, but also be concise. S stands for situation. Set the scene. Describe the situation or the problem you faced, including relevant content. T stands for task. Explain your role and responsibilities in the scenario. What problem did you have to solve? A stands for action. Describe the steps you used to approach and solve the situation or problem. R stands for result. Explain the outcome of your actions and the situation. During the interview. For this section of the presentation, we will cover how to dress professionally, what to bring, and what questions to ask the interviewer. How you dress to an interview is important. Before you begin the interview, your clothing is the first impression that you will make. You will want to dress in business attire and practice good hygiene. If your interview is online, you will still have to dress in business attire, but also make sure that the lighting in the room is good, the background is neat, and you are free of distractions and disruptions. Again, you should dress in business professional for an interview. This means your clothes should be solid, dark, or neutral colors. Avoid stripes, bright colors, or patterns. Shoes should be closed-toed heels or dress shoes. Make sure they are clean. Make sure your clothes are tailored, in good condition, and wrinkle-free, lint-free, and hole-free. Your hair should be well-groomed and neat. Nails and makeup should also be clean and neutral in style. Avoid heavy makeup and heavy jewelry. Keep things minimal. Additionally, keep scents to a minimum. Come prepared. You can bring the following items: copies of your resume. You can have a copy for yourself and the interviewer. A list of references. This information can include their name, job title, place of employment, phone number, and email. Pen and paper. Feel free to take notes during the interview. A bag, briefcase, or folder to hold your items. If you bring your cell phone, make sure it's turned off and put away in your bag. Have questions to ask the panel. The interviewer will always ask, "Do you have any questions for me?" Always have a couple of questions you want to ask the employer. This shows that you are engaged and interested in the position and the company. Some examples of questions you can ask are, what does your ideal candidate look like? What does the day-to-day in the position look like? What is the biggest challenge you are facing in this department? Never say that you do not have any follow-up questions. Online interview etiquette. Some interviews may take place online. Make sure that you are in a room with good lighting and good acoustics. Make sure the room is quiet, clean, neat, and free of disruptions. Test your sound and connection before the interview. Just like you would make eye contact in an in-person interview, do the best to look at the camera. Wait a few seconds between responses to avoid interruptions or speaking over each other. Make sure you speak clearly. Post-interview. Be proud of yourself for completing the interview. Each interview is good practice and will help you prepare for future interviews. In this last section, we will cover what you can do after an interview and what not to do after an interview. Send a follow-up email. After you interview, you can send a follow-up email to the interviewer. Sending a thank you email after your interview is polite, professional, and shows your interest in the position. It can be brief. Thank the interviewer again for their time regarding the position you interviewed for. Reiterate what qualifications and skills you have that make you an ideal candidate. Sign the email with your name, email, and phone number. Things not to do. After an interview, as we mentioned, you can send a follow-up thank you email, but do not immediately send an email asking if you got the job. Do not harass the hiring manager with questions. The hiring manager will be in touch with you. Unless something urgent or serious comes up, there is no reason to contact the hiring manager. Emailing, calling, or showing up at the workplace uninvited will harm your chances of getting the job, and it is inappropriate. Hiring managers are inundated with messages already, and they told you when you hear from them, so respect them by honoring that date. If you've decided to accept another job offer, or you've decided you actually don't want this job, send an email to the hiring manager to let them know. Thank them for their time and the opportunity, and then explain that you've chosen to pursue another opportunity. Do not ghost the hiring manager. It is not worth the risk of burning bridges. It is more professional and admirable to let them know if you've chosen something else. Thank you for listening. We hope that this presentation has provided you with valuable information that will help you to ace your next interview.